is the policy director of Project Inform, and he is everything that that paper says he is, and more so. So please, enlighten us. Give him a big hand.
Well, first of all, this speech is a bit of a downer, so I hope your cocktails have kicked in. And taking us on a whole different direction from marriage. And also, I found out today, actually, through Facebook. Facebook is an interesting thing. I found out that a colleague of mine from Los Angeles, an AIDS activist, Howard Jacob, passed away this week. Did not like finding out about that through Facebook, but I want to dedicate this speech to him. He was an activist. I think you would like to hear what I have to say. I just celebrated my 20-year anniversary of moving to San Francisco. Like many of you, I came looking for people who I knew were just like me, came looking for my community, and for the gay mecca that I read about in Tales of the City while in my teens. Instead, what I found was a ghost town and a city ravaged by unspeakable death and grief. It was shocking to me as a relatively sheltered 20-year-old from the suburbs to experience such massive suffering and the difficulty of imagining myself and my friends growing old. But what I also discovered was a community of angry, scared, passionate, and loving queer people who knew that they were the only ones who could change this story in the face of government inaction and public indifference. These people are my heroes. They took to the streets, they got arrested, they shut down business as usual, they learned how to write legislation and to lobby government, they built the San Francisco model of HIV care, and they saved lives because they knew that no one else was going to do it. So what I would like to know is, where did this community and where did this spirit go? This summer, Governor Schwarzenegger launched an unprecedented attack on the lives of people living with HIV and at risk for HIV, including thousands of gay men across the state, by eliminating by eliminating all state funding for HIV testing, prevention, housing, and early intervention care programs. These outrageous funding cuts come at a time when HIV increasingly and disproportionately affects gay youth, poor people, women, and people of color. I'm really nervous, guys. The result is obvious and clear. More people will learn their HIV status in the emergency room. There will be more HIV transmission. There will be more homeless queer people. And there will be more people not linked to life-saving care. But what is the difference this time? With some exceptions, this community did not fight back this time. We used to fight back, and we used to fight back hard. And that's what changed the story. That is what saved lives. So why have we become so complacent about our own health? Why don't we fight for gay youth to have the same life-saving health messages and opportunities for HIV testing that I got when I was their age? Why don't we fight to ensure that all people with HIV have care and housing regardless of income? And what does it say about us that we stopped fighting when the epidemic started affecting the most vulnerable and disenfranchised among us? But while it's still a top priority, HIV is not the only health crisis facing our community. And tonight I want to talk about some other issues that are rarely discussed among us, with the hope that it sparks a dialogue that lasts far beyond this forum. I want to talk about queer people I've known and loved who have faced these health issues. They are all members of our community, and they should all still be alive today. First, I want to talk about Ellen George, one of my best friends for years. She was one of the most creative and generous people I've ever known, and always the life of the party. But she was damaged. She was disowned by her family for being a lesbian and suffered for years from depression. She fought alcoholism and drug use the entire time I knew her, but she could never overcome her anger and her shame. After 2 unsuccessful suicide attempts in September 2004, Ellen stood in front of a train in the East Bay and she ended her life at the age of 42. So I want to talk about Gil Turner, who was my partner from 1996 to 2001. And it would take me all night to describe Gil, what he did for me and my life, so I won't even try in a 5 or 7-minute speech. In March of 2001, Gil became violently ill, learned in intensive care that he had liver cancer and chronic hepatitis B. And at that time, we barely knew what this disease was. He was given 6 months to live, did not get that, dying at the age of 33 a few months later. I want to talk about Martin Delaney, the founder of my agency, Project Inform, a brilliant man who spent his adult life saving the lives and giving hope to countless people living with HIV around the country. One who could truly be called a hero in the fight against this disease. Marty retired last year, deserved to enjoy some time for himself. However, a few months into his retirement, diagnosed with chronic hepatitis B and liver cancer, and died 2 months later at the age of 61. Finally, I want to talk about Danny Cusick. The only way to describe Danny is as a gentle warrior, another fierce AIDS advocate, but one with the biggest heart this planet will ever know. Danny almost died from AIDS in 1995, but came back from the brink of death thanks to life-saving new HIV meds. Earlier this year, though, Danny died from hepatitis C and liver cancer. Liver cancer is killing queer people. Substance abuse and mental health issues disproportionately impact our community, but we don't really ever talk about it. We don't fight back when programs to address these health issues are slashed. Hepatitis B and C are killing gay and bisexual men, particularly those who are HIV positive. But we don't talk about this one very much either, and we do little to educate one another. And the most disturbing part of all of this is I could keep going and talk about other people who are gone. And I know that many, if not all of you, have similar stories. This is one of our tragic shared experiences as queer people, and this needs to stop. This is worth fighting for. We can change the story just like we did with HIV many years ago, but it won't happen until we prioritize queer health along with our other important battles, such as marriage. And no one is going to fight this battle for us. We can and should be leading the fight for healthcare reform, so we don't have to fight for crumbs each year for a patchwork system of care. And we should be leading the fight to restore the unconscionable HIV cuts. We should be the ones leading the fight to make sure mental health and substance abuse services are available, and that all queer people have access to basic health information and prevention messages that can save their lives. So whether you are a believer in gay liberation or in gay equality, and we've talked about that a little bit tonight, I believe we'll never be free and we'll never be equal until all queer people have the opportunity to live a full and healthy life, and we end our story of grief and broken hearts. So I ask, can we please start talking about it? Thanks.
Thank you so much. Queer health. What are the issues facing